Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita, here it is. Because we have Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. And my name is Labangalatika. So we have entered the 14th chapter, 3 modes of material nature, which can sometimes feel a little technical, but it's also extremely useful to stay with us.
Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
So today we are reading text 4 of the 14th chapter, and as I've said before, if you're new with our channel, you are very welcome. But we are starting towards the end, so I have made playlists for all the previous chapter, and you are extremely welcome to use them to catch up, because Bhagavad-gita is wonderful wherever you start, but it's easier to get the most out of it if one reads it in a little more systematic way. But today it's text 4 in the 14th chapter, and I'm reading the Sanskrit. Sarvayonishu kaunteya murtaya sambhavantiya tasang brahma mahadyonir ahang vidya pradapita. This may be on the list of those verses that, if one likes to study Bhagavad-gita by learning verses by heart, then this may be one of the core verses. It should be understood that all species of life, O son of Kunti, are made possible by birth in this material nature, and that I am the seed-giving father. And this is still Krishna speaking to Arjuna. Purport. In this verse it is clearly explained that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original father of all living entities. The living entities are combinations of material nature and the spiritual nature. Such living entities are seen not only on this planet, but on every planet, even on the highest, where Brahma is situated. Everywhere there are living entities. Within the earth there are living entities, even within water and within fire. All these appearances are due to the mother, material nature, and Krishna's seed-giving process. The purport is that the material world is impregnated with living entities who come out in various forms at the time of creation according to their past deeds. So these are not really news, but we hear it from different angles to get a more complete understanding. We heard back in the second chapter how all of us, living entities, we are the soul. I am that person who am eternal, full of knowledge, and potentially full of bliss. In this world we forget this because we tend to identify with the material body. We tend to come into this bodily concept of life. And in order to be able to do this, we need a bit of illusion, and Krishna is kind enough to allow us to have that illusion because we wanted that. But then after some time in this world, and Prabhupada often speaks of time immemorial, we've been here since time immemorial. It's impossible to exactly pinpoint that time when we came here, when it all started. But in this world, Krishna, Prabhupada uses the word, impregnates material nature with the seeds of the living entities. So we are the eternal persons, but in contact with material nature in this world, we are given a body, and then, how to say, when the soul enters with the human life, or, well, other animal species as well, this happens at the time of conception, because if there is no soul there is no life and there is no growth. So as soon as the little body starts to grow, the soul is there, and it keeps growing. It keeps growing up to a point where it kind of turns the other way around and starts to dwindle. And in the meanwhile, we can produce offspring, we can remain for some time, and we can clearly see the symptoms of the soul in the form of life. But here we are focusing more on the fact that we come from Krishna. So we are not independent. We are not just... There's some theory, I mean, there are many theories, spiritual and material theories, but there's some theory that Brahman, the spirit, is like one undivided thing. And somehow or another, we kind of fall out of this as a tiny little part of that oneness, and we have our own separate individual existence. This philosophy doesn't actually make sense if you take it to the extreme, but if you take it as a kind of summarizing the idea that we come from the spiritual realm, and then somehow or another, now we are here, cut off from that spirit. We can see it like that, but in actuality, we remain individuals. We are individuals here in this world. We are individuals in the spiritual existence. We are individuals in a relationship to Krishna, who is the supreme individual. But the sooner we come to this conclusion that we always have this connection to Krishna, the sooner we can start some serious spiritual development. So here when we speak about the three modes of material nature, then actually we are not connected to the modes of nature because we are not material, but we think we are. We believe that, and it's actually extremely difficult to, if you start to analyze it. Philosophically, we can analyze that. We read from the scriptures. We understand that the life is the conscious living entity, and then all the parts, we say that, my hand, my arm, my eyes, my body. Because we also say my soul, but that is just linguistics. Linguistics are not proving the existence of the spirit soul, but it can help us understand it. You can say, I am the soul, and everything else is something that I have. And I come from Krishna. Krishna has allowed me to come into this world. We don't have that much independence. We have a bit independence. I mean, we have the... ultimately, our independence is in our desires. But our independence is not in how we fulfill those desires, because there we are all the time dependent. Even in this world, like we see that sometimes people who have had this extremely independent idea about themselves, going here and there, doing this and that, and then suddenly they become sick, and they can no longer command the body to go here and there and do this and that, because disease has robbed them of that independence, of that ability. Or they become very poor. We see that in this time the economic situation is very fragile for many people, and then suddenly they don't have the ability to do what they wanted, because they have to put whatever they have just into simply feeding their family. So we're trying to see, we're speaking about Krishna consciousness. So we're trying to be conscious of Krishna. So we're doing it like positively in a spiritual sense. We see Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We see how we can connect to Him in loving service. We see how we can, especially in this age, the recommended method is to meditate on Krishna's names in the form of the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, which we can chant kind of quietly to ourselves. Not too quiet, it's quiet enough that we can hear it, or we can sing it together. That's also a form of very enthusiastic meditation. And in this age, that is the recommended method to connect to Krishna in the form of His holy name. So that's, how to say, the positive way of being Krishna conscious. But there is the other way of being Krishna conscious, how to see Krishna in everything. Because we're some of us may have started the spiritual process but not really perfected it, and very many have not really started the spiritual process at all, because there is no focus on that, there is no stress on that in today's cultural idea that the spirit of the time is not really there. But we can all see that we are alive. We can all see that we are in one body. And then to be Krishna conscious in that sense, where we're not actively striving to serve Krishna, but we're just observing existence. And there we see, Krishna is telling us in Bhagavad-gita, whatever we do observe here, this world, everything in it, and maybe especially ourselves, how we may not be aware of Krishna, but without Krishna's presence or Krishna's permissions or Krishna providing for us. There's this word, we speak of fate sometimes, but the religious word of saying fate is saying providence, and it's an interesting word. I was just thinking about it this week, how providence, it sounds like that which is provided, and I haven't studied it deeply, but I kind of think that's what it means, that which God has provided for us in this life, in this situation. So that's what we have. That's what we have, this life, this existence. And if you look at it in the way of trying to be independent and trying to do something for ourselves, then this world can be sometimes very rewarding and sometimes very frustrating. But if we look at it, trying to see Krishna in it, trying to see Krishna in existence at every step, in every element, in every situation, and even looking back as far as we possibly could in this world, we came here because Krishna placed us in this world and gave us the facility of living, trying, utilizing this material existence. So at every step there's Krishna in front of us and behind us and holding us up and being our, direction. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to understand everything, but we're especially trying to understand everything in connection with Krishna. So here we see all species of life are made possible by birth in this material world, and Krishna is a seed-giving father. So, yes, please come back and hear the rest of this very interesting chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.